So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to teach you and talk to you today about multiplying your message. All right? And there's three things I want to say before we get started. I want you to be grateful for the technology. Right? I know a lot of you are probably in the room right now and saw that video and said to yourself, that's really cool, but I have no frickin' idea how to do any of it. And it's a little bit overwhelming. But be grateful for the technology, because as I've said before, it's often not the technology that stops us, but it's the mindset around the technology. How many of you use Facebook? All right, if you can log into Facebook and play Farmville or post a video or send a tweet on Twitter, you can do some of this stuff, all right? And so be appreciative of the opportunity that we have today with the internet and the tools and the technology is unlike anything else 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago. The time that we have available to start and run a business is unlike anything else, right? So be appreciative of that opportunity. And then also optimistic about the possibility. I get really excited when I watch that video, right? Just the increase in the usage of online and all of that possibility to get your message out there. That's what we're going to do, right? Everybody here has a message, right? You have the message, right? Raise your hand if you've got the message. It's now about getting it out there tenfold, 100-fold, 1,000 times fold through what we're going to do today, all right? So to reach more ideal clients with your message, you have to multiply your reach. This is pretty simple. This is not necessarily rocket science, okay? You have a message, you can go one-to-one, and that's great. But when you can go out and actually multiply that reach, go forth and multiply, as a wise man once said. That's how you reach more people. And in order to do that, you need a platform. The platform, I'm going to use that word. The platform is not necessarily the physical platform like this, but it's a platform that you can stand up and reach more people with all of these tools and technologies that are available, okay? It is the vehicle to share your message, right? So we're going to go through a lot in this session. I mean a lot. I've got 13 cutting-edge strategies going to show you exactly how to build your platform and share your message. And I'm going to try to do it so that you don't walk away like a deer in headlights and just stumble over to the coffee and just not know where to go first. And for those of you who've seen me teach before in the business school, I feel that one of my unique, as Fabian says, unique gifts is be able to take vast amounts of complex information like how to market your business online and break it down into a step-by-step, systematic, easy-to-understand, digestible, like, oh, that's how you do it. Amen, I get it now, all right? So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to get to the funny piece. So the bigger your platform, the greater your reach, the more you monetize your message. That's the formula. It's not rocket science, okay? But what I want to talk about is the most specific, I think, for everybody in the room, no matter what business you're in, what niche, what market, no matter who your client base is, B2B, B2C, B2B, whatever you want to call it, whoever you're serving, I feel very, very strongly that the most lucrative component of actually multiplying your platform is your email subscriber list, your list, all right? And your network on social media, which we'll talk about. So the reason why I feel so strongly about this, just a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was at a marketing event with several hundred people just like this, and we were doing paired shares like you guys are doing with each other, and I was interacting and talking to business owners and entrepreneurs, and everybody that was there was really passionate about their message, really passionate about their business and getting it out there. And so I'd be standing in these, paired share circles, 3-4 other people, and they're like, yeah, I've got this thing, and it's this program, it's this 7-week online course, and I'm going to sell it for $297. I'm going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, and passive income, and money while you sleep. And I'm like, super. How big's your list? On Outlook, I've got like the 3 people and my mom, and then, that's like 10. I was like, well, You need a list. What list? What's a list? Who are you going to market to? Who's going to buy your thing, right? Everybody thinks that your thing is the best thing out there, right? Who thinks they've got something that's amazing? It is. The problem is, unless people know about it in big quantities, you're not going to sell a lot of it to have a really lucrative, sustainable business, right? I mean, Fabienne started this 10, 12 years ago, building her list like through blood, sweat, and tears without the interwebs, right? Without Facebook, without Twitter, without YouTube, without any of this stuff, right? You guys don't necessarily have to do that. You're going to do that, and you're going to leverage all of these things that we have together, all right? So it's important. Now, I also like to say that when it comes to building an email subscriber list, size does matter, but it's the right size. All right? This is not one size fits all. Because who's on it matters, right? This is not just, I've got my mom, my dad, I've got that funny email address I created for my cat just to add the third person to my list. So now I've got 3. And I'm going to go into that folder, into my drawer, and pull out all those business cards of those people I met at that networking event 6 months ago, put them on my list. That's going to work out really well. Doesn't work that way, right? So who's on it? Your prospects, your current and former clients, referral sources, JV partners, right? The list goes on and on. People that are interested in what you've got to share, not necessarily interested in what you've got to sell. Not yet, right? What I'll teach you is actually it's much more about the relationship of getting people onto the list than it is about what can I sell you? How can I make money from you, right? So when it comes to the list, it is more about the quality of the list rather than the quantity, okay? So when Fabienne talks about building a list with authenticity, integrity, and love, that's what we are all about at Client Attraction. I'm not going to teach you how to spam people. I'm not going to teach you how to get 5,000 people onto your list in 30 days. I could do that, but then you'd be out of business. And I don't think that's really why you're here, and the people you want to serve are not going to appreciate that at all. I know I won't, because I've been on those lists, and I opted out within a matter of days, because I can see where the relationship was going. So you can start by building your list in a more organic, grassroots kind of way. Like I said with Fabienne, blood, sweat, and tears, right? When we were dating and I would see her do these speaking gigs at these conferences in New York and come back with a speaker sheet, and she would have those lists and she would put them into her system and everything else. You can do that, but now you can leverage some of these technologies that we have available. So you're still going to, and I'm going to talk about some of these offline methods like speaking and getting out there and networking and doing things face-to-face. That's actually one of the most powerful ways to get in front of your prospects and convert them into a client, as well as getting them onto your list, all right? Because wouldn't it be nice if you could leverage the internet and the technology so when somebody is searching for you on Google, they find your business, right? Who wants to be on the top of Google when somebody's searching for what you've got to offer? We all do. That's what this is about. We want to be found. So when it comes to the size of an email subscriber list, I feel, for the most part, and there's some variations of this, but the tipping point is about 1,000 email subscribers. And you may be sitting there and you may not have a list at all. That's totally fine. By the end of this session, you're going to get your mom and your dad and your cat and your friends, and you've got some people to work with. That's cool. We're all going to start somewhere. And even if you've got just a couple hundred people, that's great. We have students in the business school that have lists of only a couple hundred students that are making 4 figures a month because they know how to market, they know how to sell, they know how to build the value with those subscribers. Right? Once you get to a couple thousand, you can make 5 figures a month. It's possible. You can start doing product launches. You can start doing online selling. And then when you really get the momentum and you get that steamroll effect, then you can get to 10,000, and that's where the magic happens. Right? When I joined Client Attraction in 2008, wow. Yeah, so 5.5 years, Fabienne's list was under 10,000 people. And she did that through blood, sweat, and tears, speaking and networking through New York City and BNI and everything else. Let's give her a hand for all of that work. And then when I joined, I realized, hold on a second, let me get this straight. And I was still working in corporate. I said, so you have this list of these people that you send email to, and that corporate email is like the devil. Like, stay away from email. But they love to get your email, and you send them a newsletter with a picture of us and the kids. You give them some content, and then they buy from you. Like, I was like, this is amazing. So I basically immersed myself in everything that was happening. How do you do this? How do you build a list? How do you get more people onto the list? Because that's how you make money. I realized it's not necessarily about just the numbers. It's about the quality of the people. So we now have a list of 80,000 people. 80,000 people. And not just any type of people. The right people. You are our people. The people out there are our people. Your people are out there for your list. We just need to make sure that you know how they can find you and serve them. All right? Because only a small percentage of the people on your list will actually buy. Sorry to say, it just works that way. All right? So if you've got a couple hundred people, that's fantastic, but you can't retire on that. List building is an ongoing process. You always have to be building your list, no matter what. Because it's a crowded marketplace, right? No matter how great you are at what you do, there are people out there that do what you do, and you need to stand out from the crowd. And then there's things like, how many of you in the audience use Gmail? Raise your hand. Remember like 9 months ago, they did this change where they funneled your emails into promotion tabs and everything else? So you can't control that. I mean, you cannot control Google, so you better just get used to whatever they're going to do, right? So the landscape is shifting, and we have to adapt. Email marketing and list building is constantly evolving, right? That's why what I'm teaching today is very different from what I taught 12 months ago. It's different. There's a lot of new strategies that work now that weren't even there a year ago. And the ones that worked a year ago, we're not using them so much. So I'm going to share those with you. So what I'm going to talk about is getting people onto your list using permission-based email marketing. This is not about getting people onto your list because you found their networking card or their business card in a fishbowl at a seminar. I had some guy tell me, like, I've got tons of people on my list. I was like, great, where'd you find them? How did they find you? What did you give them to get them onto your list? And he's like, well, I don't understand. But I was at this conference, and I basically, we swapped business cards, and I took all these business cards and just added them to my list. I was like, do you think these people are going to buy from you? They don't even know you. You haven't even given anything to them. How is that for a relationship? So they need to appreciate the opportunity to be on your list and actually enjoy the value that they're going to get in that relationship. Because otherwise, you're going to just end up like spam. I mean, I don't even know what spam is as far as the food goes, but I definitely know what it is when it comes to email. All right? And if size was the most important thing for a list, if quantity was the most important thing, then we all would agree that spammers would be billionaires, right? Because they have huge lists of hundreds of thousands of people. And it all goes to like the junk folder, trying to sell you stuff I'm not going to mention from stage. So that's not what this is about. And you don't want to be seen like you're spamming somebody. So what we're going to talk about is giving them what's known as an ethical bribe. Fabian talked about this yesterday in exchange for their contact information. And this is actually really important. This is not just somebody saying, here's my email. Email is sacred today, right? Everybody kind of covets their inbox like it's real, like it was the phone number of yesteryear, right? Everybody's got, how many of you have more than one email address? Look at this. I've got like 9. And we all use them for different purposes. So when you meet somebody, you're like, yeah, give me your email. You're thinking, all right, but which email am I going to give to you? Are you going to try to sell me something? You want people to be like, oh, this website, I've been looking for this. I'm going to give you my primary email address. So they're excited to opt in. They appreciate being marketed to, not sold to, because they feel that there's a relationship and they feel like there's value in that relationship. And so we're going to talk about both online and some offline. Offline meaning outside the computer to build your email list. Oh, I like to say, people discount offline list building strategies. I love them. Like Fabian shared yesterday, you get something in the mail, it's like, a letter? Oh my gosh, I'm going to open this. It actually cuts through. So it's kind of old school, but it works. And the return on investment when you actually have a online and offline list building strategy together is very, very powerful. So Fabienne, as you all well know at this point, has, I guess what she is it a mating call? Is that how do you describe your like woo-hoo? I'm not going to call mine a mating call. That just sounds a little strange. But for those of you that know me, and this actually started 12 months ago on this day when I got up here and talked about multiplying your message. So here's the thing. If you guys like something that I'm sharing, if you have a aha, if you have a breakthrough, if you're like, yes, I get it, Derek, I'm going to do this. This is awesome. I want to hear, booyah! Can you guys do that with me? So if you like what I'm sharing and you get excited and you get passionate and you see the possibility, I want you to scream out like, woo! No, not boo-hoo. Booyah! All right? Booyah, booyah. That is my call. All right, so let's jump into it. We got 13 strategies to go through. Buckle your breakfast seatbelt. Here we go. Do you guys think you can handle it? All right. Here we go. Are you ready?